It's my favorite shoe of the year, and it's not even close. Yeah, I gave you my opinion within the first 5 seconds of the video, and I'm not really that sorry about it. But I put in a ton of miles in version 1 and 2. There were some lovers, there were some haters of this shoe, but I was definitely a lover. But when I got quite a few runs in the Endorphin Pro 3, I think a lot of those haters are gonna turn to lovers real quick, because this is an absolutely incredible road running shoe. While the competitors are out there just doing minor updates to their racing shoe, the difference between version 1, 2, and Endorphin Pro 3 is a huge, huge jump and pretty much a completely different shoe. As normal, I get a lot of runs in before I talk to you about these shoes, and because this is a racing shoe, it's not an easy day shoe, I've gotten in quite a few different types of marathon pacing efforts. So what I'll be doing is talk to you about the difference between versions 1 and 2 and the Endorphin Pro 3, and why I think this is going to be a shoe that not only am I gonna burn through really quickly in running all the miles, this is not gonna be the only pair I buy. So let's talk about a couple of the differences and why it's so superior. I have put hundreds and hundreds of miles. This is actually my 4th pair of Endorphin Pros, the original versions, because I love them. The only difference between version 1 and 2 was a little bit of difference in the upper and the eyelets. Midsole unchanged, outsole completely unchanged, and I just love this shoe. But then when you take a look at this, the Endorphin Pro 3, it is a completely different change. As far as the feel, there is a significant feel difference in weight. Although this comes in at 7.5, this comes in at 7.2, so it's only 0.3 ounces different, it feels a lot lighter to the touch, and it feels even lighter underfoot when you're running with version 1, 2 compared to version 3. And so that feel really transitions into what is a more bouncy, more snappy, and better ride overall when hitting those marathon and tempo paces. Now let's talk about that big change to the midsole, which is where I think there was big improvements, but not the biggest improvements in this shoe. Version 1 and 2, as I said, is virtually unchanged. It was a more dense, kind of harder feel. You really felt the speed roll technology a little bit more, in my opinion, in versions 1 and 2 than you do in version 3, but it definitely had that firm ride to it. And when you pick up version 3, and just to the touch, the Power Run PB midsole definitely got a little bit softer and a lot more bouncy. And that is where the comfort of this ride is significantly better. One of the things that I noticed is after my 20 milers, you get some fatigue in your legs regardless of what shoes you're wearing, and sometimes in your feet. With versions 1 and 2, because of that more dense midsole, yeah, my feet were a little bit more sore. But after the 20 milers that I've done in the Endorphin Pro 3, not nearly as fatigued in them. That midsole update is absolutely a gem, worth trying and worth investing in, because that is a money maker in the Endorphin Pro 3. And last, where I think the biggest improvements of this shoe were made, is in the upper. I never had any problems with the versions 1 and 2 upper, but it definitely didn't feel quite like that race upper that the other super shoes have had. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit less breathable. It was comfortable, but I think that's where a lot of the weight of the shoe is at. Whereas when you pick up the Endorphin Pro 3, you can see straight through this mesh. It's got holes in the tongue in order for more breathability, but when you pick this shoe up, it absolutely feels like a race upper. The lockdown is superior to versions 1 and 2. The comfort is superior to versions 1 and 2. And why do I think that they were able to add more midsole foam and reduce the weight? It is 100% this upper. It is a thing of beauty. And despite the decals maybe coming off, it's still an absolute work of art. And a shoe, I know I'm gonna get many more miles in without having any issues on the upper part of my foot. And as I stated at the beginning of this video, I already gave you my verdict. It's by far the best road shoe of 2022, potentially the best shoe of 22, regardless of where you're running. And so yeah, I know this is not gonna be the only time that I purchase this shoe. In fact, it may end up being like version 1 for me, where I've gone through 4 pairs of them because I absolutely love them. Marathon's coming up in the fall. You're gonna see a lot of these toeing the line. I can guarantee that.